a minute early, so we're gonna let everybody kind of have a second to get here. I'm really excited to just highlight some things because I get probably the number one question that I get is, what should I grow? What do you want more of? Or, I know the basics like sunflowers and zinnias and celosia and and what else? Because a lot of times there's so many people growing those same items that it's like, I don't know. I don't know what to grow. So everybody, that's always a very, very popular question. I'm gonna see here if, let's see here. We're going to say that if you've got a question, just type it in the comment area. I'm still learning the ins and outs of YouTube going live, but it's really exciting. So while some people join us, I wanted to just share, first of all, I don't know if you heard this week's episode. I know that's not on YouTube yet, but it is on all the podcast apps and our website, theflowerpodcast.com. But Allison Carlson is a amazing plant grower. She has years of experience working with very well-known farms, and she has her PhD in cut flower research. And so she sent me some things, and we're going to talk about some of those things today. And because I want you to know how easy some of these things are to diversify what you're growing. So it's always important. And I want to start off with, first of all, one flower that we got actually from Charles Little, and Charles and Bethany Little have been on our podcast. It's a great episode talking about dried flowers, but this is from them. So this is called Phlomis, Phlomis, I believe, and it's also known as Jerusalem sage. And I just think this, for this time of year, this is not a flower that you're going to have for fall, but for got loud birds, for late spring, early summer, this is a really great flower. So they grow in the Pacific Northwest, they're in Oregon, but I mean, just to show you some of these stems, you can kind of see where you've got a couple blooms that have come out on the spike, and then there's some side shoots too. And this flower is very durable, and even after these flowers go, this is kind of a very, I don't know if you can see this, this is a very rigid seed head, and I kind of feel like that would be kind of a cool texture for cut flower things too. So this is Jerusalem sage, and it is one of these different, see, like right there, it looks like something happened and that tip got, cut off for whatever reason or broke off. But it's still a great stem. It's very turgid. It's very, I don't know. I think it's a great flower. So this is, common name is Jerusalem sage or Phlomis. And it's a different flower. They have this every year, so I'm going to guess this might be a perennial for them. But anyway, so I wanted to show you guys this. Then I wanted to give you an update. Last week, about this time, I planted last Sunday right here on YouTube. I planted some sunflower seeds. Now, a lot of times people plant sunflower seeds. I know, like one of our past guests, Lisa Mason Ziegler, you can watch her plant seeds every single week for succession plantings. Well, I don't have a lot of space here at this house, but I do like trialing things and see how things grow. It helps me understand when a grower is growing them. It also lets me know, wow, this is something that is really interesting. So this is the sunflower seeds I planted last Sunday, and you can see they're all coming up. There's still a few that haven't germinated yet, but we're gonna wait till they kind of even out. We're gonna give them a few weeks in this tray to kind of mature and harden off. I'm bringing them outside to harden off a little bit. But this sunflower is called Sunfinity. It's by Syngenta, and you can get it at probably anywhere that you get Syngenta seeds, like Ball or Express Seed or some of these other companies. And this is a branching sunflower. So I'm not gonna plant these every week. Why? Well, number one, I don't have space to plant that many sunflowers, but I was really interested in this specific branching sunflower, because you can plant them and they bloom and rebloom and keep blooming, and they'll have shorter stems, so they're not going to be, you know, like a single stem, single cut. They're going to have multiple flower heads that you'll be able to get. They'll be smaller, they will have shorter stems, but I think for bouquet work, daily arrangement, everyday work, I think they're going to be a great size. And because they're not so stiff, because they're branching, they're a little bit more, they have more movement, I think it's going to be a fun addition. So we're going to plant them in an area that we're getting ready to, not back here, but ready to prepare over here. So this behind me over my shoulder is my Savannah Gardens raised bed they sent me. And we are an affiliate. And if you go to our Instagram account, and we're going to get something on our website where you can hit the link and use the code Flower Podcast, you get an extra 5%. They're also doing Father's Day specials this weekend, so let you know about that. There's some great deals. But we, one of our local growers here, Erica Penn, gave me some dahlias, and I was going to plant it half dahlias and half some other stuff. Well, she gave me so many dahlias, we just planted them all in dahlias, so I can't wait to see. They're already up about this high. We'll have to do a separate video on those dahlias. Let me show you another flower that I think is really a good flower for local growers. It's a perennial, and that is phlox. Phlox is one of these flowers that a lot of times people don't like to fool with, because sometimes you have powdery mildew issues or timing issues, or they all bloom at once. Well, the thing about phlox is, and local phlox, is you can buy it from Holland, and you can get it from Israel, and you can get it from other places that grow, I think South America, yeah, South America. And it's pretty, okay? It's not that it's bad, but it's not this, all right? So this is a locally grown phlox. I don't know the name of the variety. I did know it, and I've forgotten it. This came from one of our local growers here outside of Nashville. But this is what happens with local phlox. You can't get this if you import it, because it just doesn't ship well, and you have to cut it so tight. And yes, the flowers might arrive tight and they might open up, and you might do that, but it's not going to look this fabulous. I mean, it really does look fabulous when it's like this. And I just have to say, it is definitely worth it. So I want to let me take a stem apart here real quick. And show you guys. Now, you might have seen a flower fall off. Now, this is the one thing about phlox that I need to let you know. Oh, wow, look at this one. Okay, look how big this flower is. I mean, it is huge. Now, a lot of times with phlox, these first set of flowers will all open up, creating this beautiful head of bloom. But I don't know if you can tell, but there are a lot of buds down in there. And sometimes, as these start to develop, these buds, these will be spent. They don't all bloom at once, and this is why it makes a great perennial, right? Phlox just keeps blooming, not the whole summer, but for quite a while. But these other flowers will fall off as buds just keep on coming. So sometimes you might have some phlox and it looks a little tired, and you can just shake it, and you know, a flower will fall off, and that's okay, because that flower that fell off will make room for these other buds. So, make awesome cut flowers. Got a helicopter going over. So this is phlox, and white is probably the most, I'll wait just a second. White is probably the most popular color, okay? But I can tell you, this was a wow flower when it came in. And most people wouldn't sit here and say, oh, I want a pink phlox. I mean, they might not do that because they might just think, you know, I don't know. Some people get afraid of color because, you know, it doesn't work for every wedding, or it doesn't work in every bouquet because it might clash. But I think it's pretty incredible. And so this is a phlox. If I can find the name of this variety, I'll put it in the comments on the YouTube live after it saves. So this is really great. So this is a phlox that has great stem length and really strong. I mean, look at the strength of these stems. And, you know, it has some side shoots. So look at this. Now, I'm not really worried or hung up on this. Excuse me. Goodness. I'm not really hung up on this. In fact, I would probably break these off if I was selling them because they do add some volume, which is great. But you can see where this flower is way more open as far as the buds are all spread out. But I still think it's a great flower. So Phlox is a great cut flower, and I definitely think about this, okay? I want to take a second and also share with you. I know we're talking about late spring flowers, and a lot of times, you know, some of these flowers we planted the seed back in October, November, or maybe indoors in February, March, and we're planting them out now. And so I got a copy of this incredible book called Cool Flowers, and a lot of flowers are in here that we need to be thinking about, you know, because August, September is just around the corner. I know that's painful to think, but it's a great book. Lisa Mason Ziegler wrote it. And if you haven't gotten her app for the Gardener Workshop Live app, it's really very convenient to use. I've used it a few times. It's easy to buy things. She does like a QVC style show on it, and you can buy. She has specials like on Fridays. Anyway, you can check all that out. But that's something that I wanted to get because I know it's not going to be long, and we're going to be talking about next year's flowers already. Well, our guest this week, Allison Carlson, with Syngenta, I'm trying to find a place to put this lid. She also, besides these sunflower seeds, she sent me some other seeds, which we're going to use for cool flowers. That's one reason why I brought that up. But she also sent me some mum cuttings. This tray's got water in it, so I'm trying to be careful. And so she sent me hundreds of cuttings. And this is how they come, like a little shoot about this big. And I put some rooting hormone in them, and I stuck them in this tray full of soil, and I have them under lights, and they're hardening off. I've been keeping a cover on them just to kind of help the moisture stay in because I don't want them to dry out. They don't have roots yet. They've just literally, I stuck them 2 days ago. But these little cuttings are going to provide cut flowers this fall. And various times, usually when dahlias start to kind of fizzle out, mums start fizzling in big, and so it's a great replacement crop to help extend season. This particular tray has 4 varieties in it. A couple of them are shades of purple, and some of them bronze, or they call it kind of a Durango honey. And so the 4 varieties I have here are Durango honey, Newport bronze, wild or Williamsburg purple, and Delano purple. I'm not sure. I can't read my writing. So anyway, but these are going to be flowers that we're going to cut this fall, but we got to stick them now because you can't wait much longer because they will fizzle. Now, there's a very important flower. Yes, they are, Sam. Thanks. They are a very easy flower to grow. They root easy. They can take the heat. They just need their water. They do like to feed because they do, of course, grow really fast. And can't wait to show you the progress with these. Okay, so now, you know, a lot of people have gotten on the limelight hydrangea train. And so you have PGs and limelights and other paniculatas that people grow for like late July, early August, cutting, going into like the fall wedding season, because even as they antique, like the PGs get those pinks and blushes on. Well, what do you do when you want hydrangeas already now? Well, there's a whole group of hydrangeas that bloom on old wood, and they are amazing though, and they're all of the Oakleaf hydrangeas. And they tend to be, because they bloom about this time of year, they tend to really kind of be resilient. Like we had that super cold vortex thing come through here in Nashville, and a lot of things got hit back hard. But the oak leaves are all in full bloom and are beautiful. And so I want to show you a very special one. I actually had the opportunity to meet the hybridizer, or not, maybe I should say the person who discovered this particular one. So this is a variety called Snowflake. And Snowflake is wonderful. It has this almost like a cluster of grapes almost kind of feel to it. It is a double. I don't know if you can see that. And so it is really, really full. It has a different texture to it because it's a double. Now you don't want to cut it before these last little buds on the tips fill out, because if you cut it sooner than that, a lot of times it will wilt on you. But reason why I'm showing you this one's really special. This one's hard to find. This one is very unique, and I have someone who has lots of them that they grow, and we are able to sell them here in Nashville, which is great. But there are all kind of oak leaves. There's smaller, like dwarfs, that have more compact blooms. There's other ones that kind of get more blushy as they develop. The thing I love about some of them, this is one of them, that they almost turn green in their antique stage. But this is a great mid-June cut flower when you want to start this kind of thing for June weddings. Or if you have customers, maybe you do bouquets at a market, or you're a florist and you're trying to find something to give you grace and kind of texture in a big wedding arrangement. But these are great. I do, usually when I get them in, I recut them, put them in flower food. Sometimes I may quick dip them, not always, but these are really, I think we got these about 5-6 days ago, and you can see they are still going strong. And it's a great addition if you're a flower farmer, because I know that's one of the things people ask me about is woodies, like being able to find some kind of shrub, flowering shrub that you can include as a border or somewhere in on your farm that you can make money on, especially as certain early spring things transition out and other early summer things haven't transitioned in yet. Like zinnias might just be starting for you, but wouldn't this be great to go with peonies if your peonies come in late? So anyway, so this particular one's called Snowflake. It is a double, but oak leaves are great if you're interested in that. If you're interested in something shrub-like for this time of year. I've seen these in full sun too. I know a lot of times people are afraid of hydrangeas because they feel like they kind of need shade cloth or need to be like morning sun situation. I've seen this particular variety in full sun. I've seen a lot of oak leaves in full sun. They can take it a little bit more once they've hardened off, but it's definitely something to think about. Okay, so I've got a couple more things to show you. And I appreciate the comments, and if there's anything else, just let me know. I wanted to show you this. This is something that typically I don't see as much until a little bit later in the season. But these came out of Oregon. This also came from Charles Little. Bethany sent these to us. This is a Helenium, and I just love it. This came into us last Monday, so here it is Saturday, and it's still holding up great. I love all the stages of it, where it's just the open flower, where it's even the petals. Let me see if I can show you this, where the petals have started to kind of angle back. I think that's kind of cool. Even in bud, these just little brown buds are a cool texture. So all of these are great, but this is a Helenium, and there's a lot of different kinds of Heleniums. And I would, if you've never tried them, I would try at least something. I mean, because again, this is that pop of color that a lot of times, when you're doing bouquets for farmers markets or, just designs in general, it's just that really dramatic pop of color. And there are some chrysanthemums that, like I think of Viking out of South America, that has the same coloration, but it doesn't have this movement. It doesn't give you this flow that I think is really, really great. And I don't know, I think that's worth something. It just, I don't know, makes it feel gardenier, makes it feel more special. So that is Helinium. Okay, so one thing I wanted to show you, a lot of times there's a lot of flowers that people, Sam, thanks. I love the deeper orange ones for the fall too. That's the one thing I love about this family is there's so many varieties, and some of them are mixed color tones with oranges and yellows, and some of them are more pure color tones like this, they're all wonderful. They are all wonderful. And to me, I know that people think of it for fall, but I think it could be all summer because there's so many great bright colors. I mean, it's just a great family. So there's a lot of times when people want to grow flowers for whatever reason, for bouquets or for whatever, that are a common flower, but they want to grow. Okay, so I'm just going to cut to the chase. Statice. Let's talk about statice. So there's so many great colors of statice, and a lot of people like to grow purple or grow white or grow blue or grow lavender. And last year one of the videos, I think if you go back you can find it, I highlight, maybe on Instagram, but I highlighted a grower that brought me some apricot statice. So for us in wholesale, this is the #1 selling color by far for us. And a lot of times people don't grow this because they don't realize the potential of something like this. And so like one of the growers like brought me some purple statice, and I was like, purple is a color that you see everywhere. It comes out of South America, dirt cheap. And it's such a strong color that especially for people who do weddings and things like that, it just is a hard color to work with. So why not grow something different? Something that is very hard to get out of South America. You can find it, but it's very inconsistent. And that is apricot or salmon or peach, whatever color you want to call this. But I love it because you'll see some blooms that are more pink and some blooms that are more peach. And when you're building palettes for wedding work, if you're a flower snob, and I get accused of being a flower snob, but if you're a flower snob, this color helps. I always have to quote Amy Asaba. It's a color bridge. It bridges colors together, and it doesn't jump out and scream status when you are working with it or when you're designing with it. It just blends so well. When you see a big chunk like this, you think, well, I'm not a big status person. Well, the thing is, what I want to do is I want to take this bunch apart. I should have done this already, but I didn't. So I'm going to take this rubber band off. I'm going to pull this out. So when you use a stem like this, you can cut it up, but it doesn't scream status when you mix it with other blooms. It just looks like a beautiful color filler. And this is one stem, and you can see the branching on it. And you could cut this middle piece, use it in a centerpiece. You could use these long stems. You can even wire them. You can even dry this for, imagine a peach statice dried for fall wreaths, fall arrangements, anything in the fall color range. And so this is a very, very popular color. So if I had to choose a color, I think I'd choose this if I was a flower farmer. Now there's one more color, and honestly, I never see this color except for one farm out of California grows it, and it is a blush. It's not white, it is blush. And they grow a lot of this blush. And this is another one. I believe this is a tissue culture, so this might not be a seed thing. This might be a plug thing that you can ask your plug supplier. But this blush this is the #2 seller. So if you're going to look at all of the colors combined of status, wouldn't it be great to grow the 2 most popular colors instead of colors that you kind of see everywhere? So not hating on the other colors, but if you only have so much space and you're good at growing status, let's grow some different colors. All right. So that is that. That was pretty awesome. So I wanted to highlight again, our episode this week is with Allison Carlson. She is a PhD. She's from North Carolina State University, and she is the person who sent me these branching sunflower seeds called Sunfinity that we're going to plant and watch and see how they do. And she's the one who sent me these mum cuttings so we can have mums this fall. for cup production. And her episode is really great. She is really great. She is in charge of all the technical support at Syngenta for cut flowers. So we, on our website, theflowerpodcast.com, you can go there and look for Allison's page. It's on her guest page, and there's all kind of links to her technical guides, to some blog posts. She even, for one of our sponsors and past guests, Bailey Hale, created a mum growing guide with all this technical information. We put the link to that in there. That's one reason why we're growing these mums, because they're just amazing. And it was just a good episode. We're gonna have to have her back because she knows so much. The hour just flew by, and we'll have to go deep. Yes, this is a nice friend to have. Thanks, Sam. I mean, it was amazing. It really was. And plus, if you are familiar with the post-harvest book that the ASCFG sells, she was the co-author with Dr. John Dole on that book. So it's a great book. Maybe we'll have to do something about getting that book in here. But it's really great. So I just wanted to share these things. Again, I want to highlight this Cool Flowers book by Lisa Mason Ziegler. It's time to start thinking, what do you want to grow? I know I was really excited because Allison also sent me seed for an assorted Madam Butterfly series of snapdragons, because snapdragons are a great flower to plant this cool. And again, I get so, I don't know, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit. There's growers that do a great job with snapdragons, but there's so many people growing snapdragons. Why not grow something different? So that's one reason why we're going to plant some this fall, Madam Butterflies. So you guys can see. In fact, I think I even did a live on Instagram just maybe a couple, 2-3 months ago, where the Flowering Ranch in northern Alabama sent me some. And you can see this open face style of snapdragon, which to me almost looks like stock, and it's just different. And that is the key. If to really be, I feel like, successful in flower farming, is to kind of find niches where you excel, where you are growing flowers that sets you apart, is different from everybody else, and is special. And snapdragons are a great flower to grow. I mean, I love a good snapdragon. To me, especially, we get when we get them in, there's such long, beautiful flower columns. They're hybridizing such amazing new varieties, but there's so many big farms growing them, and wouldn't it be great to show up at a wholesaler or a florist with something different they haven't seen before that wows them? And that's one reason why these open face styles we're going to grow more of, and encourage you to do the same. So if you're just joining us, we're going to save this on YouTube. We've talked about Phlox. We've talked about Phlox. We've talked about Helinium, which, let me see if I can grab it. We've talked about Oakleaf hydrangeas. We've talked about Statice and growing different colors. Here's the blush one. The apricot one kind of fell. And we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about branching sunflowers. Don't have to plant them as often, and they keep blooming after you cut them. Mum cuttings won't be much longer, and it's time to be done with that. And we've talked about cool flowers coming up. So there's a lot. We're going to share some more video content too about this box from Savannah Gardens behind me that is on sale, and you can use the Flower Podcast code. That's the code, Flower Podcast, and get an extra 5% off. But this is full of dahlias, and I was really excited because the dahlias we planted had like shoots on them, and we were able to bury them, and they've already got foliage coming out after a week. I can't believe it. And we're going to enjoy watching that. So thanks everybody for tuning in on YouTube. Feel free to comment, ask questions. I'll try to follow up throughout the week, but we're going to try to do this more, like at least weekly, so that way we can give you guys ideas, suggestions of what to grow if you're a flower farmer, and what to look for and ask for if you're a florist, because sometimes you don't know to ask for something like Phlox or this amazing Phlox. And your growers want to know the feedback so they can grow the flowers that you want, right? So I hope you enjoyed our time, and thanks so much. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and get updates when we go live and other things. So thanks so much, and y'all have a great, great Saturday.